can't get it.
An invasive species is threatening the health of the Great Lakes, and the warning Maine snowmobilers hear before hitting the trails.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm John Rogers. The January thaw is over. As promised, cold and snow now dominate the eastern half of the nation. Let's go start with that Arctic blast. You see below average temperatures stretching from the Great Lakes to New England and into the south. It will be so cold that much of Florida faces a freeze warning overnight tonight, including my hometown in Northwest Florida. Temperatures in some places could drop into the 20s. As for the snow, it's been coming down strong along the Great Lakes. A foot is on the ground in northern Indiana. Cleveland expecting a total of 10 inches, as is Buffalo and nearby Niagara Falls, where there are whiteout conditions this morning. We have team coverage of this winter blast, starting with Stephanie Joseph in Rochester, New York.
I think really the big thing here, you can see that those flakes are coming down, but overall, coming over here to this direction, there was a lot of slush on the roadways. It's not a day where you need to slam on the brakes for sure. Gradually, make sure that you're allowing enough following distance. It is slushy on the roadways. The snow is packing out here. Another thing to be mindful of, it's getting hard to see those lines dividing the lanes on the roadways, so it's hard to see where exactly you're supposed to be. So really take it slow out here and be mindful. That is the name of the game. It's a word of the day, if you will, that I'll continue to say because it is very serious.
One thing that we're seeing right now where we're at is someone is currently stuck as they're trying to turn into the gas station. Now they were able to borrow a shovel. This might be a good opportunity to check if there's a shovel at home and you need to head out, get in your car and be in a commute. You might want to take that shovel with you in case of a scenario exactly like this where you're trying to make a turn and there's too much snow on the ground for you to actually get into the lot that you're trying to turn into. You might need to be able to ask for help. And so that's something that we're seeing and we're hearing also from dispatch that slide-offs, accidents have slowed down in some areas, but still it's pretty spread out. There's a lot still happening in St. Joe, in Berrien County, Cache, and Elkhart as well.
The snow was a major factor in a massive pileup that shut down the Indiana toll road yesterday. 30 vehicles were involved in the crash and conditions state police described as heavy blowing snow causing extremely low visibility. Several people were taken to the hospital with injuries, but none are considered to be life-threatening. The highway reopened 4 hours after the crashes. Snow was also falling in western North Carolina this morning. It's fairly light right now, but the nearby Smoky Mountains could see up to half a foot. Reporter Ryan Stockett shows us how the region is getting ready.
A heavy machine moves into position as crews prepare to lay salt down on the roads.
Anticipate this event beginning as rain. Therefore, NCDOT crews will take the reactive approach. And once it does turn to snow and ice, then we will begin operations to remove the snow and ice.
David Uchiyama with NCDOT says they're going to have crews working around the clock until roads are cleared. When asked if he had any concerns about the roads because of the weather, Waynesville resident Caleb Robinson told us the salt trucks have it covered.
Usually the salt trucks do all right around here, they're pretty consistent. They get the salt down, they know when it's coming,
Robinson was just one of several people standing in line waiting to fill up on propane. Canton resident Chad Cogburn tells us he's getting ready for the cold.
With this rain coming before the cold hits, I'm afraid it's going to start freezing up everywhere, and just everybody's got to be careful on the roads and watch what they're doing.
A sentiment shared by Uchiyama, who's encouraging drivers to consider not making the trip.
During winter weather, it's important to decide how important is it for me to make the trip, because the fewer vehicles that are on the roads, the quicker our crews can restore the roads.
He says crews are working 12-hour shifts and that there's approximately 25 crews in Haywood County and 30 in Buncombe County.
NCDOT crews will be out there until the event is not just over, but the roads are cleared.
A few minutes ago, you saw the snow falling in Rochester. As crews treat local roads, there are fears of a salt shortage, just like last year. As Natalie Calzatoni shows us, some business owners are now taking matters into their own hands.
Last month, I learned from sources that American Rock Salt reportedly increased its prices for commercial customers by $25 a ton. Now, multiple sources have told 13 WHAM News the Mount Morris-based mine is prioritizing distribution of road salt for municipalities.
Which puts us in a very hard position where we're at as a smaller business. What do we do when all that salt is allocated? we're obviously open to buy it. We need it, you know, obviously at whatever cost we have to do, but what do you do when they're turning trucks away and we can't get it?
Ferguson tells me as a result, the distributors he purchases salt from have increased prices.
We've now almost doubled in cost for what our cost is for salt, and from the sounds of it, it's going to go up even higher.
Ferguson says he is responsible for salting high-traffic businesses, including medical facilities, to prevent slip and falls. While Ferguson has salt now, he worries for what's ahead.
Hopefully it doesn't come to the point where we have to have a hard conversation of, I'm out of salt, I can't get salt.
Portions of Alaska remain under avalanche threats thanks to an unusually snowy winter. Parts of Juneau are evacuated after more than 7 feet of snow fell in recent weeks. And those dangers now extend to popular state parks as well. As Georgina Fernandez explains, people are advised to stay away.
Just walking through the snow, you quickly sink in.
There's a couple feet of snow over there.
As we look for the perfect spot.
Just based on quick ski pole probing, it seems deep enough.
To check the snow stability here at Glen Alps.
And as soon as we dig through that layer, this older layer, it's almost a different color and a different texture. It's got these really big, kind of weak, sugary grains.
This right here is weak snow, not what you want to be on right now. Right now we are seeing avalanche dangers from here in Anchorage all the way down to Seward. With human-triggered avalanches really being concerned, you can actually trigger one of those avalanches even if you're 200 feet away.
Starting with taps from the wrist.
The test speaks for itself.
So that's a failure on 2, the second tap from the wrist, which is like a really unstable result.
Right now, Chugach State Park is advising people to avoid avalanche terrain and sticking to slopes 30 degrees and under. You should also make sure terrain is not connected to larger slopes above you.
So people have been traveling in low-angle terrain that is an avalanche terrain and remotely triggering something above them because they were connected to a slope that was steeper.
Little steps that carry a big impact.
Well, Iowa is well acquainted with fog, but recently it appeared after temperatures dropped below zero, which actually doesn't happen very often. These conditions add another layer of risk compared to warmer months, as you can imagine. Meteorologist David Holtman explains the dangers of freezing fog.
Freezing fog starts to form just like any other foggy day. Moist, cool air gets trapped under a layer of warm air. But cooler air can't hold on to as much humidity as the warmer air, so the moisture condenses, just like it does on a cool glass in the summer. But that moisture hangs in the air, creating fog. What was different about last week was the layer of air above the surface was so cold it dropped below freezing. This created supercooled water droplets, or droplets that are below freezing but stay in liquid form until it touches something, like a road, a tree, or your porch steps. If that surface is smooth, like a road, you get a thin layer of ice. But when it's rough, like a tree branch, more ice will attach to the ends, creating tight ice needles, or rime ice. One of the major reasons we don't see freezing fog too often in the winter is the lack of moisture in the air when it's below freezing.
Interesting. Well, check this out, folks. A new study could change our understanding of the relationship between the Earth and the Moon. Newly released research found solar winds have been carrying Earth particles to the Moon for billions of years, and it's still happening. Those particles include volatile gases like oxygen and nitrogen. Researchers say the Earth's magnetic field, once thought to block the transfer, actually helped guide the particles to the lunar surface. Love that. Coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll learn about the invasive species that's devastating mussel populations in the Great Lakes, plus money-saving tips to keep your home warm all winter long.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. Last night's rain, drizzle, and fog that's starting to move out. The trend will be for brighter skies in the Northeast today. But big temperature changes are on the way. Notice 4 o'clock in the afternoon, temps are in the 40s for parts of the area. Temps are in the teens through parts of New York, and the colder air will win out by Friday. Look for a lot of sunshine on Friday. Those temps will struggle to get out of the 20s. Wind chill values will likely be in the single numbers and teens. A round of snow is possible during the afternoon on Saturday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Javeli. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region, tracking the colder air. It will be around all day through your Thursday. The winds will be a bit gusty. Temperatures will get stuck 20s to low 30s. Some light snow showers across the mountains, but otherwise it's looking pretty dry for Friday as well. Maybe some snow showers and mixture precipitation coming in Saturday, but those temperatures will be pretty brutal with the wind too. Talking about teens and 20s on Thursday afternoon. We'll be in the 30s on Friday.
Hi, meteorologist Jennifer Collins with a look at your southeast forecast. A cold front boundary is crossing Florida on Thursday morning. This will bring the chance for scattered showers to the region before the much drier, colder air filters in behind. It's going to be a cold end to the week for most of the southeast. Afternoon highs on your Thursday will range into the 30s and 40s for most of the Carolinas and across North Florida into the Panhandle. As we look towards Central and South Florida, cool conditions with temperatures in the 50s and 60s.
I'm Evan O'Regan, meteorologist at KFOX 14 in El Paso, Texas, and you are watching the National Weather Desk.
Snowmobiling season got a quick start in Maine thanks to cold temperatures and snowfall last month. However, there's still a word of caution before taking to the trails. Meteorologist Ryan Munn reports.
It's got a really good base, so people come out and they ride on this, and we say, you know, we don't encourage it, but if you're going to be out, be careful, be safe. And what it does is it packs it down so that it will hold up when the rain comes.
Snowmobiling is an activity many Mainers take advantage of, but one of the most important things is to have a solid base of ice.
But some of our trails literally go right across people's yards. If the ground isn't frozen, sleds can go through with their skis and their tracks, dig it all up, rut it up, and make a real mess and cause a problem in our relationship with the landowners.
There are about 40 miles of trails in Windham, which cover the properties of 113 different landowners.
So number one, we want to make sure our landowners' properties are respected and that there's no damage done. Typically that happens when early season riding, when the ground isn't frozen, but the ground is frozen now, so we're not as concerned. Number two is rider safety. We want to make sure that when people are out there riding, that they're safe.
These trails are multi-use as well. They provide access to people who are cross-country skiers, snowshoers, dog walkers, along with snowmobiling.
There's about 14,000 miles of snowmobile trails in Maine. And also, snowmobiling contributes about $700 million a year to the Maine economy.
I'd love to try it sometime. Well, have you ever wondered how a winter storm can drop rain in one place, snow in another, and slick ice somewhere else? Meteorologist Kid Alexander explains.
In winter storms, temperatures don't just change from place to place or location to location. They change with height and altitude, as you already know. And I know you've heard meteorologists talk about the air's cold from top to bottom. You're just going to get snow. However, if that snow melts into rain and then refreezes near the ground, you can get freezing rain or sleet. And of course, if the air is just above freezing pretty much all the way, the whole entire temperature profile of the atmosphere from top to bottom, you're going to get just good old rain. So the same storm can produce totally different impacts depending on the temperature profile of the atmosphere. And this is especially critical in mountainous terrain and areas that have mountains. So that's why winter forecasts are so tricky. A difference of just a few degrees or even just 1 degree can mean rain, ice, or snow, same storm, but yielding very different results.
Well, the snow falling this morning around the Great Lakes is lake effect snow. But do you know how it develops? Utah meteorologist Lindsay Storrs explains.
So let me explain how lake effect happens. The Great Salt Lake right now is sitting at 42 degrees. That's the current water temperature. But if you go up in the atmosphere a little bit, the air temperature is down to about 15 degrees. So that's a huge difference there between that mild water and then that cold air above it. That gives you a lot of lift in the atmosphere over the lake, which of course creates condensation. And eventually, before you know it, you're seeing snow just downwind of the lake.
So one thing that makes the Great Lakes healthy are mussel shells, but experts say they're being smothered by invasive species in Michigan. A biologist is working on a project to help protect mussels in the Great Lakes. Meteorologist Ethan Foreman has more.
We have, depending on the source, 42 species of native mussels in Michigan. They clean our waters. They provide substrate stability.
Michael Hillary, a biologist with the Department of Natural Resources, says there are two types of mussels that are invasive, the zebra mussel and the quagga mussel.
They leave behind their shells. They provide food, a unique linkage to terrestrial organisms, and they provide habitat for things like macro invertebrate in our waters.
Zebra and quagga mussels are very small, where zebra mussels can reach up to about 1 inch and quagga mussels can reach up to about 2 inches.
They like hard substrates, and our native mussels are on the sediments, and so they happen to fall under our native mussels and they'll smother them.
Zebra mussels are native to Eastern Europe and Western Asia, whereas quagga mussels are native to the Ponto-Caspian Sea and Ukraine.
They're attaching onto the native mussel. And what they're doing is they're preventing that native mussel from opening and feeding, from reproducing, and from moving. And so they can cause, and we've seen, very high mortality.
Hillary says that once these mussels are here, they are very hard to get rid of. But he has a project he has been working on for around 2 years to get this under control.
The project I'm working on is looking at maybe an effective management strategy for protecting native mussels from invasive mussels once they're invaded.
The invasive mussels are found in all the Great Lakes, but more so in warmer climates like southern Lake Michigan and Lake Erie.
We have some preliminary data, and we're looking to ramp that up these next 2 years. And the idea is, as a management strategy, is this something lake associations can do? Can they go out and clean off their native mussels? And is that an effective management strategy?
Now that winter is fully here, many of us have to keep that heat cranked up. That means a bigger dent in your wallet when that power bill arrives. But there are simple steps you can take to save money without sacrificing warmth. Muriel Bailey sat down with an official from Alabama Power to find out how to avoid heating sticker shock.
How much energy goes into heating a home? Because for example, with me, I get home, I turn on the unit, and it seems like it takes forever for it to get to that number that I have it at.
So in the winter in Alabama, especially when it gets incredibly cold, heating is going to take up over 50% of your power bill. People don't realize that, but when you have electric heat and it gets below freezing outside, your heat strips kick on, and those can increase your energy consumption by up to 300%.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. It's a lot.
And that's why she recommends you do not turn off your unit when you're away from home, because turning it off will force your unit to work twice as hard to heat the air and everything else inside your home.
What number should you set it at while you're away?
When we make recommendations around temperatures that people should keep their homes, it's always a little sticky. So we generally go with 68 degrees, but what I would recommend is if you're not comfortable at 68 degrees, whatever you're comfortable with, adjust down by 1 or 2 degrees.
Lowering the heat a bit is one free and easy way to save. You can also open the blinds during the day, let the sun help warm your home for free, close the curtains at night, and keep the garage door shut.
Should you close vents in rooms where no one's in there, close the doors? What should you do?
I wouldn't recommend doing that because that's going to cause your unit to work harder. What we do in our home is we leave doors open and we leave all vents open.
Other low-cost upgrades that can save you money: safely use a space heater to warm small spaces. Throw down a rug to help insulate cold floors, seal gaps and cracks, and use weather strips on doors.
Say if you're standing behind your front door and it's a sunny day outside and you see sunlight coming in under it, that's somewhere where heat is escaping your home. Doing a lot of small things can make a big difference.
Time now for a short break, but first let's take to the skies over New York City.
Well, a very good Thursday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. We've got some light snow showers across the Midwest for the day today. Nothing that looks to be too heavy unless you're downwind of some of the Great Lake effect snow. Great Lake effect snow. We should coin that. We have a little more snow showers moving their way in across the northern plains for your Friday. And then for Saturday, some light snow showers still continuing across a lot of the Great Lakes region.
Good morning, and I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. The coldest air in the region back up for Little Rock, Oklahoma City, into the 20s. Warmest air down toward Brownsville, near 54 degrees. A little bit of a system comes through, but more warm air than anything else out from the west. That means plenty of sunshine today, and temperatures warming a little bit above the normal for some. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there and a good Thursday morning to everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, we cannot seem to buy a storm here. From Seattle to San Francisco, Los Angeles to Denver, Colorado. Temperatures are running on the warm side for many of us because it is so high and dry. 60s near the Rockies, back into the upper 70s in Los Angeles. High pressure keeping any stormy weather from entering the west coast. And that's the scene from here.
You are watching the National Weather Desk.
Did you know that frost can form when temperatures are above freezing? Meteorologist Preston Donnion explains how.
Much of California started their Tuesday on a frosty note despite air temperatures in the mid-30s. So how do we get an icy coating when we're above freezing? It all has to do with air temperature versus ground temperature. Now, the air is not a very good conductor of heat, whereas the ground really can soak up that radiation during the day and release it at night. And this is something you know if you've ever stepped outside barefoot on a hot summer's day, you're really going to feel that much hotter than the air. And at night, the same thing goes out. These ground surfaces, whether that's this trail right here or the top of your roof or your car's windshield, all much more effective at radiating heat back out to space than the air itself. So when we measure official air temperature, that is 2 meters off the ground, about 6 feet above the surface. But right down at the ground, things are cooled much, much more effectively. And so the ground itself can get down to freezing, and through contact with that ground, the air just above it can cool to the point where we condense out that water, and then it makes contact with that frozen surface, and voila, a frosty start despite the air temperature being in the mid-30s.
How about that? Well, we'd love to share your weather content on the air. You can find us on all your favorite social media platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm John Rogers. Go out there and have a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.